Ivan, Daniil, and Oya, my comments to you on your interview about the art of music, the music of art. First of all, overall, I could tell by Olya's passionate, long answers that you guys had written really good questions because she certainly seems to be enjoying answering them. She just gives short answers, but she looks like she's telling you a story with each of the questions that you're asking, and you even make her think a little bit sometimes before she answers it, and that tells me that you asked special questions, ones that made her want to say more than yes or no, or just answer quickly. Um, I'm going to give you some comments as if we were sitting in the same room together and you were getting ready to do some other interviews. I hope that's okay. And I hope they're constructive uh, comments, suggestions that if you ever do more interviews that you might think about. Uh, I think my overall sense is when you have an interview where there's the person in the middle who's being asked the questions, then you have each of you journalists on each side, which we do a lot most of the time. It's really important that both of you are looking at the person in the middle all the time, all the time, all the time. You act like you're each a light and you're lighting up your guest with your eyes, with your attention, with your nodding of head, with your laughter, um, never looking away from her, never looking away from her, never looking down at your questions until she's through talking. Um, and so I think if you watch the your interview, you'll see those times when both of you are paying attention to her, and other times where you're looking away or you're looking down. And that just, to someone who's watching it who wasn't there, and to her, as soon as you look away or you look down, that tells the audience and the person who you're interviewing that you're not listening to them anymore. You're more concerned with your questions, and so always be looking at that person, even if they're looking the other way. You should be looking at the back of their head because that just shows that you're paying attention. So uh, and if you watch, like, Daniel, I think it's your first question. It's really early on in the interview. Um, you ask a question and you both laugh when she starts her answer. And that shows me that you guys have made a connection. You're ready to go now. And she looks to you, Daniel. She looks over to you. She doesn't look at the camera. She looks over to you because you asked the question and you stay with her there. Um, and Ivan, you kind of look off to the side. It's really hard, but you need to be looking into the back of her head. Uh, Keep giving that person eye contact because that's gonna maybe make your interview become a conversation. She might ask you a question and you'll have a conversation instead of just an interview. An interview, you could send her your questions, she could do her answers, and it would be fine. But if you're both in the same room, all three of you are in the same room together, you could ask a question and something that she says right there, because you listen to it, you might go, but tell me about that piece of that song you learned when you were 5 that inspired you, because you were listening to what she had to say. Um, uh, Daniel, you do a good job. I think Ivan, you look a little bit more nervous, honestly, than Daniel, and looking away more. But Daniel, you're looking even when Ivan's asking questions, and you're laughing, and I think that's really a good job. Halfway through, Ivan, you start to do that. You start to give her more eye contact, and she looks at you, and you look at her, and you laugh a little bit and smile and nod your head. And meanwhile, Daniel, you're doing this, you're nodding, which is not fake. Some people do that. It's not real, but that tells me, yeah, I hear what you're saying. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay, yeah, I like that part. So those body language things, if it's a visual interview, are are huge. They just add to the energy that's on the screen. Um, Daniel, one time you can watch, you can see when you do this. Okay, I mean you're right there looking at Oya the whole time, and I love how you use your hands when you ask your questions. But you look down at your clipboard. She's answering one of Ivan's questions, and she gives long answers, so that's hard. She doesn't give short answers, and you look down at your clipboard for what your next question is going to be, and right there, you just sucked the energy out of the frame, um, and showed you're not listening anymore. You're really worried about what your next question is, not what she's having to say right now. And that happens all the time with my kids, and I call them on it right away. And if I was going to edit that interview, I might cut you out of the frame like you do at the end. Just put Ivan and Oya in the frame because you're looking away, so you're not listening. So why should you be in the frame? Um, and I know you're nervous. You want to think about your next question, but who knows? She might say something that if you're really listening to what she has to say, you one of my reports said the best questions are the ones that we haven't even made up yet. It's our first question that gets it started, and then as we speak with each other, then we go a completely different way because we're listening to one another, and that's the good stuff, I think. Uh, let's see. I like your ending that you got the guitar out. I love your little transitions. Excuse me, I'm looking at my notes where you do the little fades to go to the next question, do a little fade, go to the next question. I think those are great. Nice editing technique there. Um, but I really like the way that you closed with her, with Oya, um, playing a little instrumental piece on the guitar, and it made me think that yeah, I think it might have been cool if you had before your interview even started, um, that we heard some music of hers, and then you went into your interview with your introductions and that, and then when you closed with it, it just it just made the story whole. And starting with the music, even you don't have to see her playing the guitar. You could just have some instrumental music, and then you could fade it out and say, "Hi, I'm Ivan, and I'm Daniel, and we're here with Oya." And boom, and then you go, and you've already got me there by bringing some music in to begin with. So anyway, Jakuj, for your great questions, and Oya certainly seemed really interested in answering them, and I hope it's okay that I gave you those suggestions because I've watched your interview a couple times now, and I couldn't help myself. I certainly was interested. I would love to know what your questions were and what Olia's answers were. But again, Jakuj, good work. Um, look people in the eye. Look people in the eye. That magic stuff happens when you do that. Okay. All right. Bye bye.